Hi, horse racing enthusiasts. This is John. Welcome to another episode of Derby Trail. After so many weeks of having basically the same sort of top horses, no movement in the top five, we finally have had a few races this past weekend, where where I think we have a good grasp of some of the horses that are starting to sort of gel and starting to stake a claim. Well, first of all, we saw in the Fountain of Youth Forte. Just go back and look at that race, and then look at all the other horses. Forte has a turn of foot, has a presence about him, and he's a real good horse. So we'll come back to that in a second. But I wanted to talk about a couple of quick things. One, we had a couple of good races here, and we'll show you our top 15 to 18. However, we have a couple of races coming up in the next couple of weeks that are going to be very key. One is this weekend, the Tampa Bay Derby. We'll see. There should be a good amount of horses out there, and Tapit Trice is going to be one of the horses that has a lot of acclaim. At Gulfstream, he had an allowance race that was he won pretty convincingly, but up until then, he doesn't have any points. So if he wins this, he'll be in the Derby. So we'll see. And then I would say towards the end of the month, or maybe it's April 1st, Louisiana Derby is going to be a very key race in who will be going to the Derby. What we're finding here is that a lot of races, including the Sam F. Davis at Tampa, the Risen Star at Oaklawn, the Rebel down at Fairgrounds, the Gotham up in New York, they were all running the mud. Now, if you're a horse and a champion horse, a thoroughbred racehorse, you have to know how to run in the mud, and that's just the way it is. Some horses like it, some horses don't. And I don't know that we get a clear picture yet of just who the right horses are, in sort of the medium level. We know kind of who the top few are, and we'll show you those in a second, but we don't know that middle group. And, as we saw in the Derby last year with Rich Strike, he was a little beyond the middle group, but he came from out of nowhere. So these horses all have a chance to win, so it's going to be exciting. So one thing I wanted to mention is a couple of things, a couple additional things. One is the Baffert horses in that whole saga. Where is that? Well, as you know, I think it was Harlow Cap that Baffert has already been transferred. The owner's transferred to Steve Asmussen. That horse is run, I believe, in the Rebel, or maybe it was in the Risen Star. I don't know that he's a huge factor, but he's out there. But the rest of the horses are starting to move over, because at the end of the day, what we have is they're moving to the owners have to decide if your horse is going to be a Derby horse or a Triple Crown horse and going to run through Churchill Downs. They need to. Baffert can't be the trainer; he's suspended, and that's not going to change between now and the Derby. So a lot of his horses and a lot of the owners have okayed the transfer to Tim Yakteen. There's about 8 of them that have transferred already. So that includes Arabian Nights, a Practical Move, National Treasure, Arabian Lions, who I don't think is going to be on the Derby Trail, but who knows. Carmel Road, I haven't seen too much for him. Fort Bragg probably has 10 points at this point. Hijazi, and then Mr. Fisk, whom I haven't seen too much about Mr. Fisk. So anyhow, those have all moved to Tim Yakteen. However, Cave Rock and Reincarnate haven't moved just yet. So we'll see how that goes. The next thing I wanted to mention was you'll see in the top list here that I've started to fade some of the horses that I think are really good, and we'll probably have a good second half of their 3-year-old year. But I think it's getting too late for them to really get into the Derby. And if they were to acquire points, I don't know they have a realistic shot of winning. And that's Loggins, who I really like Loggins a lot. I don't know what happened since that October race. We haven't seen him on the track. There hasn't been any works. And then Extra Anejo started to work out again, but we haven't we haven't seen it in a race, so we don't know if that horse is all is worth all the sort of talk about him. So I think that's it. I think what I want to do now is probably get up to our list, and we'll just walk through it really quickly, and then we'll go from there. So bear with me while I just switch the camera angle. Okay, hopefully this is not looking too bad. So, okay. So I think, through the last time that this worked out pretty well. And you'll see horse race enthusiast John Derby Trail. So here we go. All right, so number one is Forte. You'll see the previous week he was number one. He's the 2-year-old champion. He just ran for his first time this year in the Fountain of Youth, and he was wonderful. He had a turn of foot that was he just lagged behind in about 4th or 5th place, and then closed. Arabian Nights, whom I saw up at the Breeders' Cup, he was on the undercard at the Breeders' Cup. You'll see there noted that it's Tim Yakteen is the trainer now, so has won a Derby prep race, but will be running in. I'm not sure which race he's going to be running in. I apologize for that, but the next round he's going to look to take it, and that was the strategy from the get-go. So we'll see how that goes. Cave Rock, we haven't heard. Cave Rock hasn't run yet this year. Another Baffert horse hasn't been assigned just yet to another trainer. So it could be one of these deals where Baffert knows that he's not going to be on the Derby Trail and doesn't have to assign him. I'm not sure. So, but Cave Rock, we last saw him at the Breeders' Cup Futurity, and we'll see how that goes. Instant Coffee, I have number 5. Instant Coffee hasn't done. It was 5 last month. The last time we did this ranking, 4 this time. Brad Cox horse trained. Bolt d'Oro is the sire. Luis Saez hasn't done anything wrong. He's a closer type. Should be. If everything's okay, and it looks like he is, he should be in the race. It should be fine. 5 is Confidence Game. The winner of the Rebel, in the mud again. Candy Ride sire with a Bernardini out of a Bernardini mare. Confidence Game came from from back. Looks like he's a horse that's turning on at the right time. I think he deserves a ranking of 5 right now. We'll see. These horses that were running down at fairgrounds are all sort of pointing towards the Louisiana Derby. That's why we're going to see those horses all kind of match up together. 6, Rocket Can had a good, strong second place to Forte in the down this weekend at Gulfstream. Bill Mott horse Into Mischief. 7, I have as a Red Route 1. Okay, so I have it at italicized because I wanted to indicate and show to you whom I have a futures bet on. Red Route 1, in my opinion, he's a gun runner, right? And I think he looks like gun runner, to be honest with you. And so he had a good last race down at the Rebel, and actually it was the Risen Star. And he had a good turn of foot, and he came charging late. And I thought he had a real good shot at catching Confidence Game. I think if that race was a little bit longer, like the Derby will be, he's going to be right in the thick of it. So, who knows? Maybe he matures. I think the big thing that he has to do, first of all, in the wet, he's going to be there. But the big thing he has to do is he has to somehow figure out how to stay closer in the early part. Okay, so then we come to the Hit Show, who at number 8, wasn't on our ranking the last time. We won the Gotham. Angel of Empire similarly won race this past week, 9. National Treasure, whom I kind of like National Treasure's turn of foot. Tim Yakteen is the trainer again, so this is an old Baffert horse. He was scratched out of the race this weekend out in Santa Anita. So I don't know if he's hurt or what is it. Maybe they just want to send him into one of the other races because a lot of these horses are all running against each other. And if you're Tim Yakteen, all of a sudden you got all these horses that are on the Derby Trail, but they're all running against each other. So we'll see what happens. 11, I have Reincarnate. And then we have a few others that we just have to watch, right? 12, Two Fills. in the Rebel, he was like right there. He kind of lugged in a little bit. Not sure if I'm not sure if the distance is really his thing. Does he want to go a mile and a quarter? I'm not really sure. You think a hard spun he would, but he kind of lugged in the last time. Maybe it's just the immaturity. We'll see. At 13, I have Jace's Road. 14, Verifying. Still yet to really see, I think. Verifying, I placed in a Derby race this week, or last week. And I think his next race, which is likely going to be the Louisiana, it looks like, or maybe, yeah, I would say the Louisiana Derby, is going to be whether he's going to be in the Kentucky Derby or not. Victory Formation, still in it, has some points, but he needs to show us something, and I'm not sure what his next race is. Giant Mischief, disappointing last race. I really think this horse is one of the top horses. I have him ranked 16 right now. It was 11 last week. His last race was very disappointing, but he's pointed towards the Louisiana Derby, and we'll see where he comes. Tappet Trice, Pletcher, Tappet Horse, strong horse. That allowance race, he was very impressive. Now it's time to swim with the big boys, so we'll see what happens. He's going to go against Tampa's 50-point race at the Tampa Bay Derby, so we'll see. I don't think he's going to have much competition, so there you go. And then I have Blazing Sevens, who I had at 8th, and it dropped to 18. Really poor performance last time. We'll see what happens. And I just wanted to watch this Curly Jack. I don't really have him ranked. Let's say he's 19, I guess. But my issue with him is that he's always around, but he's not really doing what it takes. I hate to take him off the list because I feel like he has a lot of potential, and Good Magic is a great sire, but let's see what happens there. So, and then I'm fading these two, Extra Anejo and then Loggins. I spoke to that previously. So, just switching it back. So that's the list. Not a huge shakeup, but races coming up are going to really determine, who's going to be in that list and who's going to be the sort of the favorite going into the Derby. Again, Forte, hands down. I think if we see Forte, I think that he's going to probably doesn't have to run, but he's going to be right there. They probably will run because they want to keep him in that cycle of every few weeks. So you probably see him running the Florida Derby, and then Practical Move, the horse over this weekend, Tim, former Baffert race horse. Watch that race as well, because that race, you'll see what I mean by the turn of foot. These two, Forte and Practical Move, have the best turn of foot out of all of them. So that's it. That's it for this week. We'll come back after the Tampa Bay Derby and we'll summarize what's going on. Maybe we'll have some more clarity around Cave Rocks and a few other of the horses that have sort of been either delayed in their training or have been injured, that kind of thing. Maybe we'll get a quick update on that. And then, we'll look forward to the weekend, maybe a video before the Tampa Bay Derby, just give you some insight on the handicapping and what's going on. Also, here's a couple other things. One, if you like these, please like the video. Please share it. The other thing is, how about a comment in maybe this video or any of the videos with respect to if it would be worthwhile to do a live handicapping session. We've kind of contemplated that. Maybe it'll be on the morning of a race. I'm heading to the Tampa Bay Derby today, so maybe I can't do it, for that. But maybe one of these races coming up, do a live broadcast of the handicap session. So I think that'd be worthwhile. At any rate, good luck at the track. Go ahead and send your comments, and please go ahead and like. We're gaining some traction, and it's exciting and it's fun. And go ahead and send those comments along. All right, thanks, race fans. Appreciate it. Bye.